hear that? That's not just a Toyota truck. That's the sound of no crowds, no alerts, no distractions, and no telling what you'll find next. You know, like a detour. So why would you ever take a tour when you could take a detour? Toyota trucks.
With every disaster, hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and earthquakes, animals are affected too. But I want you to think about this too. World conflicts. The big ones in the news these days are Ukraine war, the Israeli-Gaza conflict. Now that's just a couple of them. Now, imagine any one of these events from an animal's perspective. Now, I'm not really sure that I can even come close to thinking what's going on in their heads. It's just really too hard to imagine. In today's episode, Jon Barocas, he joins me. He's the executive director of K9 Global Rescue. Now think about this. Put together a group of international military veterans, first responders, doctors, veterinarians, and volunteers with their main focus being the safety of animals. And guess what you get? You get K9 Global Rescue. Their motto speaks volumes. Saving one dog will not save the world, but for one dog, their world will change forever. Now, Jon talks about all the places they've deployed to for, as he says it, the humanity of dogs. He talks about their efforts to end the dog and cat meat trade. He talks about the various disasters in the U.S. they've assisted with and all the war zones they've been to. Again, for the humanity of dogs. Their work and efforts with other rescue organizations is just heartwarming. It's a bit mind-boggling when you think about some of the crazy situations they've been in, but most importantly, remember, because of them, the world of many dogs have definitely changed forever. So sit back and enjoy this fascinating story as Jon possibly changes how your world may be changed to a small extent too.
For real, 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 for real. Got a bunch of furry friends and I love them all the same. I'm an animal lover, veterinarian is the name. Let's share some pet stories from heartwarming to strange, losses and gains, from wacky to insane. For real. You're now tuned in to For Real with your host, Mark Kyle.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the For Real podcast. Today I've got a good one. My guest is Jon, I'm going to hope I'm pronouncing it right, even though you told me, Barocas. So Jon, welcome to the show. I want to get into everything you're doing. This is going to be fun, but I'm going to start off with you. I'm going to get your background, how you got where you guys are doing, because you guys are doing some amazing things, and let's just go from there.
Thanks for having me, first of all, Mark. I appreciate it. So how I got started is an interesting story. After I was in the military, I started a business, and that business became very successful. And on a trip in the 90s to Thailand, I was speaking at a convention there, actually, and my friends there said, hey, let's go to the market and get some food. And I went to the market, and it was what we call a wet market. And wet market is kind of a designation because they wash down the market every morning before it opens, and that's how the name became wet market. So I went there, and I saw these dogs in crates, and I was like confused. I didn't know what was going on. And one thing led to another, and I found out that there was a dog meat industry. And having grown up with dogs, having worked in the military with dogs, I freaked out. I knew that something needed to be done. And so I got together with a few of my friends who were also former military, and we started working throughout Asia, mainly Thailand and Cambodia at the time. And we started shutting down dog meat farms and hijacking. I kind of say hijacking, but taking trucks that had dogs that were going from Thailand. They would be transported over the Cambodian border, trying to get them to Vietnam. And so that's how it all began. And it just, over the years, spread. And we didn't go by any name. We didn't have any organization. We were just a bunch of lone wolves out there doing our thing. And then in 2006, I had been to Afghanistan, bringing back service dogs from Afghanistan, Iraq, just kind of, still very much involved in rescuing and saving dogs all over the world. In 2017, we established Canine Global Rescue. Canine Global Rescue became a nonprofit. We were saving dogs throughout Asia, and we eventually moved into Korea, knowing that Korea was a really bad place, and that there were a lot of dog meat farms that the Russian mob, the Yakuza, they all had an interest in the dog meat trade because it was about a $25 to $30 million a year trade in Korea. And so one thing led to another, and we kept saving dogs and shutting down covertly farms in Korea. And I was approached in 2017 by a filmmaker named Andy Abrahams, and he started against what I really wanted to do. I didn't even want him to come along at first because it could be dangerous, and we have enough problems looking after our own. But he started filming us doing these things, and eventually now the movie Dog Warriors is out on Amazon and is up for an Academy Award, and as a documentary that is featuring us saving dogs and shutting down dog meat farms.
So wait, hold on 1 second. So that started in 2017. So that's almost 8 years of filming, or I guess 7 years of filming.
He did 4 years of filming, but
Sure.
COVID got in the way. And so we were shut out of Korea, we were shut out of Thailand, we were shut out of all the countries because they wouldn't allow us in because of COVID. So we were kind of stagnant in that time period, 2021 in that area. And then we were still doing rescues and disaster relief in the United States. Put together a USAR team where we were going in and doing hurricanes, floods, fires, and we're still all volunteers. Nobody in the organization is paid. Everybody's volunteer, including from the top down. So we started. He started filming. He finally finished it up a year and a half ago, and it went out on a soft release. It was hitting all the film festivals. We won the award at Rain Dance in London at the Rain Dance Festival, and we've won a lot of awards. And I shouldn't say we. He won. He's the guy who made the film. So, and now he signed the deal with Amazon. He signed a deal with YouTube. It will be featured on YouTube starting in January, and of course the Academy Awards. We have since we started working in Ukraine in 2 weeks after the war started. I had a lot of friends, Ukrainian friends, and I couldn't sit back, and neither could my guys. So 4 of us actually went to Ukraine to begin with. We figured out while we were there that our rifles didn't mean anything. They didn't have supplies. They needed supplies. They needed not only humanitarian aid, but they also needed military gear. They needed equipment desperately. And so we transformed into a logistical supply company, sort of, that was taking in all kinds of aid, a lot of medical supplies, tourniquets, bandages, everything that we could possibly get our hands on.
Let me add some input there, because I was in there, as you know, I've been there twice. I was in there 6 months into the war, and then just recently in September. But one of the issues with getting supplies, and that's where, which is a miracle that you're doing, it's so clogged at the border just to get across the border. And I know, like, when I came back, I didn't notice as much this last time, but the first time I came back, I had to take a bus to get out of there to get into Poland. The trucks were backed up 3 miles trying to get in. So how you guys figured that out is amazing in itself.
So when I purchased a vehicle in Poland, the first vehicle we had, which got blown up, I brought lights from the United States. So we had our humanitarian aid. We set up a humanitarian aid organization in Poland. We had the documents. So every time we were getting to the border, and you're right, 3 miles is actually not bad. When we first were going there in April and May of 22, it was, it was 15 miles.
Wow.
Literally trucks. I mean, on the side of the road, it didn't matter what.
Right. Park. Lights off. They were turned off.
Yeah. What route you were going, what border crossing you were doing. It was crazy. So I literally would go on the other side of the road, put on the lights, bypass everybody, get to the front of the line, present them with my documents. And they would, at the beginning, they were searching our vehicle. They were from top to bottom would search our vehicle, look at everything.
Yeah.
And even though we were established as a Polish NGO, they still went through everything.
Oh.
Once we got across the border, I had connections in the Ukrainian army, so they would just go. But it was it was an experience. The first time that I went, the line on the other side coming out of Ukraine was 20 miles long. Cars on the side of the road.
Oh, I know. It's still saying. It's still insane.
Yeah, people walking across the border, whether, especially whether it was Medica or anywhere else, it was crazy. I mean, they were abandoning their cars to get out. And they were fleeing with anything that they possibly could. The clothes on their back. A lot of them were carrying their pets. I mean, it was insane. So I had never experienced anything refugee like that in any of the war zones that we've ever been in. That was beyond anything that I had ever seen.
It's unimaginable. I mean, I don't know if you saw that Sean Penn deal. I mean, he had a walkout.
Yes, I did.
They did. They abandoned their car too.
They did abandon. They had a van actually that got left on the road.
Yeah.
And he did. Now, since that time, Sean Penn has been back a few times. He's never had to wait anymore. So
I wonder why.
So, but yeah, I mean, I was awarded the highest medal in Ukraine for civilian service. Because of what we were doing and how we were helping with humanitarian aid. We were at the front lines. The Russians have tried to take us out on multiple occasions, have gotten our vans, have come close, real close to us on several occasions. One of my guys was in a van and we got hit with a suicide bomber and suicide drone, and he's been fighting to keep his leg for the last year and a half. And another very, very good, very close friend of mine. We were in Bakhmut. We had just left Bakhmut and about a week before, and it was about this time he died on December 3rd. And when Bakhmut fell, he and 6 other guys that I know all died.
It's one of the things that, again, you guys are so active there. And I was there early September we mentioned, and the guys that listened and probably heard the episode when I was in Ukraine, one of the hardest problems they have, they've got people that want to donate food to them, but they can't get it because, again, the border crossing and getting back, it's a nightmare for them to do that. So it's not only the money and all the support, but just getting the supply is a nightmare.
Yeah, and the Polish government, at the beginning of the war, they did not know how to handle the influx that was going across the border, and it delayed all the food, all the humanitarian aid. And then they got smart, and things changed a little bit. And then there was this protest that started happening
for all the farmers and all that people.
All the farmers and
right.
The refugees that had come in. I had some doctor friends who had worked at the border, and they worked at some of the refugee camps that were inside by Warsaw. And there was a lot of
Yeah,
resentment that had formed.
because they were taking jobs.
They were taking jobs. Yeah, I mean, they were, but they weren't. I mean,
Right.
those
I know.
jobs were,
Perception.
yeah. I mean, they're willing to do anything to feed their
Right.
families, anything at all. They just needed to get out of Ukraine because they had family and friends dying,
Sure.
and they needed to get out. So it's changed a lot since that time. And I think you probably, on your last trip, you took a bus in, which I've never had to do, thank God, or the
Oh,
train.
it's a nightmare.
I mean, because when we go in, we're taking in 10 to 20 huge duffel bags full of humanitarian aid.
Right.
And on top of that, we usually pick up dog food and cat food in Warsaw, and the van is just packed. I mean, tons of food, animal food. And so we've gotten to know a lot of the border guards, especially the ones, canine guys, on both sides of the border. And that's made it a lot easier for us as well.
Are you guys going in through Warsaw or are you going through Krakow?
We go through Warsaw.
Yeah, I went through Krakow.
Yeah. And we'll go to any one of the crossings. We register our vehicle prior to going to the checkpoint, to the border crossings. And we also have our documents with us. So, and I still bypass everybody.
With your lights? I like that. I love that.
I put on my lights, and then you should see us in Ukraine when I can make it from Warsaw to Kyiv. It's a 9-hour drive. I've made it in 7 hours.
That's amazing. Yeah.
7 hours.
Yeah.
What we call code, right? You got the lights on, you're going, and
That's awesome.
I never stop at checkpoints and and when all the checkpoints were set up all throughout Ukraine, never stopped at checkpoints.
That's awesome.
Always going through, and never had a problem, never had an issue. And and then we'd spend the night in Kyiv, and then we had a base in Kharkiv. And Kharkiv was, we worked out of there at the beginning of the war, and then we worked our way down we were in Izium the day that it got liberated. We went to Liman when that was liberated, and then we went to Soledad when Soledad was lost, and they started to push back up. And then we went down to Kherson and Medica and every, not Medica, Medica. And we were in Kherson in the middle of a firefight. The Russians had dropped a few on us when we were delivering aid. It was a hairy situation. We got underneath. We pulled out of this area that we were on the hill above the river. We pulled out and got to the bridge where there was a bunch of Ukrainian military, and we pulled in there. And the Russians were laying in on us, and they had snipers too. And it was a 45-minute firefight. And one of our veterinarians, who happens to be American and Ukrainian, he grew up in California, but this is the first time he had been in Ukraine when he actually came under fire. And he was unbelievable. Everybody was unbelievable. We ended up getting out of there, but it was. And that day, we were supposed to meet up with World Central Kitchen and feed about 2,000 people. And we did, but it was a little delayed because of what was going on. We were trying to not get our asses shot off, so to speak. And
literally, you mean literally?
Yeah, we've had some crazy, crazy times. But it's something that is expected in a war zone, in an active combat.
It's funny. Every time I talk to you, there's so many similarities. So the first time I was there, I worked at the border with World Central Kitchen, and with Jose was there. We were making sandwiches together, doing that. It's such a funny thing. I mean, we kind of crossed paths, and surprisingly, we haven't met before. It's weird.
Yeah. And it's been like that in Ukraine. You're not the only one. There are a lot of people who have similar stories to us, right? We've been there, but we've never actually run into each other.
Right.
And they find out about us, or I find out about them. And like in Liman, when we were in Liman, we were trying to feed as many people as possible. The Red Cross had been into Liman. They brought in aid and supplies. But 3 months into it, there was no more food left in Lehman. And we got to Lehman and we were like, oh, holy crap, what's going on here? These people don't have any food. We ran back to Kharkiv 2 days in a row, filled up the van with as much food. We bought out grocery stores. And for a matter of fact, the manager of one grocery store came to me and said, listen, please don't do this again. Come to me in the morning. Don't take everything that we've got. we'll give you whatever, but don't do it just wiping us out.
Right.
So we went back to Lehman, and for 2 days we were set up in the van, passing out food, passing out everything that they didn't have. And it was the same thing in Izium. The same thing happened where we were there, and even along the way, we were picking up dogs.
Yeah.
We were taking dogs from the checkpoints where the soldiers were taking care of them, and we were bringing them back. And I brought several back to the United States that we actually got from soldiers at checkpoints. And we've been at the front lines many times. My group has been embedded, has gotten dogs from guys who they were moving from one trench to another area, and they couldn't take their dog that they had adopted that was in the trench with them, so we would take them out. And it's just been I can't believe we're going on 4 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
You know what's funny is and you've been there more times than I have, but I've been there twice now during the war. And the difference between when I was there this last time and when I was in same time of year, so it's about 6 months into the war. And it's all sad, first off, but now you see all the placards for the people that have died, the military everywhere, in each small little villages everywhere. That wasn't there when I was there the first time. And, I was in Kyiv this last time and walking through over by the chapel there, and there's, I don't know how many, 100 or so, and the age range is 19 to 27. So they're losing this whole generation of basically young men and women.
Yes.
And some of them are kids still. And it's just so disheartening, to say the least.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've been to too many funerals in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And you see a cemetery with all the flags and the soldiers and their faces that are they put them on the gravestones, and it's sad. It's so sad. And yes, you're right. There's a whole generation that is going to be lost.
Right.
Unfortunately. And we lost a very good friend of ours, a medic, and she died helping a bunch of guys who were wounded, and they did a double tap on them, and she died. And we've seen way too much of that in Ukraine.
For real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real.
And we'll be right back.
The world is full of tours. But you don't choose a Toyota truck to follow the beaten path. You choose it to find the places in between. The detours, where each adventure pulls you toward the next. And wrong turns turn out right. So why would you ever take a tour when you could take a detour? Toyota Trucks.
Anyone that has cats knows it's that darn litter box that can be an issue. And let's be honest, they smell really bad until now. Now, if you've got cats, Boxy Cat is your new best friend. You never have to smell that stinky litter box again. And let me tell you how. Boxy Pro, as in probiotics, stops the bacteria that causes the odors. And never in to smell my litter box again? Hallelujah. Now, Boxy Pro keeps it odor-free infinitely. You still need to go scoop, but you never have to dump the box out again. You just got to top it off. There's no more switching brands all the time, and I know because my family uses Boxy Cat, and you should too. So get Boxy Cat at boxycat.com. That's BOXIECAT.com, and enjoy 30% off if you use the code for real. That's BOXIECAT.com/for-real. And let's get some fresh air back into your home. We are supported by PrepVet, providing stem cell therapy for pets.
As a pet lover, did you know your pet can benefit from the incredible healing power of stem cell therapy? Prep Therapy offers a groundbreaking solution taken right from your pet's own blood. Say goodbye to joint pain, arthritis, kidney and liver conditions, and more. They'll experience faster recovery, increased vitality, and extended quality of life without the need for surgery or harmful drugs. Put the wag back in their tail and discover Prep Therapy today at PrepVet.com. Save 10% with promo code FurRealPodcast, covered by most pet insurance.
On your website, you've got I absolutely love this saying that you have, and I've got it written down because I would forget it for sure, but what you say on your website, you say, saving one dog will not change the world, but for that one dog, the world will change forever. I think this is an awesome saying.
Thank you.
So let's segue into, because I know you've gone, you go to disaster areas, you go to war zones from Afghanistan to Ukraine, like we're talking about, Israel, Gaza thing, all that. Let's talk about, what's your guys' mission, what you're trying to do in the animal world, and let's dig into that so people can fully understand what your guys are doing.
So basically, our mission, it hasn't changed over the years. Population control and disease mitigation are the two main issues that we have. Mm-hmm. And what's come out of that is we ended up, we're not an adoption agency, we're not a foster agency, but a lot of times we can't leave those dogs behind. So we end up working with shelter partners like in Korea or in Thailand or in Ukraine or in Gaza right now, where these organizations are willing to take in our dogs that we rescue, and we then try to get them adopted out. And like I said, we're not really an adoption agency at all, but we recently counted, came close on an estimate between Asia, Ukraine, and Gaza, Israel, Gaza. We have rescued over 3,000 dogs that have left those countries, that have transformed their lives. And so our biggest thing right now is population control, because in Ukraine and in Gaza, without population control, there are 3,000 dogs that have migrated from Gaza to the border of Israel since the conflict started. Those are a mixture of feral dogs and of former pets that have now been incorporated into the feral population.
Sure.
We need to stabilize that. We need to neuter as many of those dogs as we possibly can. And at the same time, when you have disease, when you have bodies and dogs eating bodies, because that's what happens in conflict zones,
sure,
disease happens. So disease mitigation is a huge problem. And that's what this next mission that's coming up, what we'll be doing is two famous veterinarians who have worked with us before are coming with us, and we're going to do sterilization clinics all along the border, and we're going to be mapping feral dog populations. We're advising the government, the Israeli government, on how to contain the feral dog populations in communities, bases, everywhere, and how to cut off the food supply for all of the dogs. And we're going to be relocating a lot of those dogs to areas where they won't be affecting the communities. Because right now, if there's a community on the border, like Kibbutz Be'eri, they walk their dogs at night, and they're dog lovers. And they're walking their dogs, and all of a sudden you've got 10 feral dogs in front of you trying to track your dog. I mean, it's a problem.
Right. Well, it's a huge problem. One of the things that I read, and I'm going to ask you this because the way I read it is you don't care about the optics, you care about the action. So this is my term for you, and you tell me if I'm right on this thing. Well, you know what kind of a knucklehead I am, but I really do think this is the way you're more of a can do versus what can we do.
Yeah, we don't hesitate.
Yeah.
We go in and we will do it, and that's the thing.
He who hesitates loses, by the way.
Yeah, we've learned that from other groups and individuals, and we do not hesitate. Now, it's not like we're going in unplanned. We have a plan. We put a mission plan together, and we will go in, even if it's a 24-hour plan that we all of a sudden we've been called and we need to do something. And you're right. We will do it. We can and we will, and that's all there is to it. My guys they're all fantastic. I can't say enough about my team and about what they have accomplished over the years. And we worked in different countries like Jordan, and we were up in the where the 6 refugee camps were set up from Syrian refugees coming down.
IDP camps, yeah.
Yeah, and the tier of trails, as they called it there, where the dogs would follow the trash component from all the conflict zones, and they were pets, and they would follow those the trail of trash. And we worked with the Jordanian government to work out plans and detailed plans on how to mitigate that situation as well. So, the easiest solution for them that they think is to kill all the dogs.
Yeah, it's calling. Yeah, that's what most people do.
Right? To shoot them. Yeah. And that is so wrong.
In so many ways.
Because what happens is from a humanitarian point of view, but also
it's not the dog's fault, by the way. That's the thing.
When you take out the alpha dog, you've created this humongous void. And all that does is put the other dogs into conflict for territory, for dominance, for everything. And that's a bad thing. So we have been trying to work with them to understand. And believe me, in Gaza, it's the same thing. There have been a lot of Israeli soldiers, and I give them credit for this. They have smuggled dogs out of Gaza without the military knowing. Of course, I would say that
I know nothing, Sergeant Schultz.
I know nothing, right? But I've had them ask me, what can I do? And I've explained to them how. And, they feel for the dogs. They feel for these animals. And it's a problem. So our mission is population control, disease mitigation. Those are the 2 main things. And then what comes from that is, yes, I have 3 dogs that I've personally adopted. It's one of the cause and effects of being in this.
Yeah.
But we will jump at whatever it is that needs to be done. And whether it's a conflict zone, whether it's a disaster, or whether it's like going to San Antonio, where there's a stray dog population that needs help. We will, El Paso, San Antonio, Oklahoma. There are problems that are happening in the United States where we're trying to help local organizations and the city shelters understand what needs to be done, what better needs to be done. And we have a program that we established years ago called Feed 'em to Fix 'em, where we would get PetSmart or some of the food suppliers to, if someone adopted a dog, had it spayed or neutered, they would get food for 1 year, right? And that, to help reduce the street dog population. Now, if we found out that they didn't spay or neuter their dog, or if they took in another dog that they didn't spay or neuter, then they would lose the program. But as long as they did that, Feed 'em to Fix 'em is a huge. It could work everywhere in the United States.
It's a good name too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, feed 'em, gotta feed 'em, but you gotta fix 'em first.
Right.
The other thing is, whether it's a conflict zone, whether it's Asia, Korea, Thailand, wherever, we've learned that if you don't take care of the humans, especially like in Ukraine and in Gaza, if you don't take care of the humans who care about those animals can't take care of them.
Right.
So our main objective is, 1, take care of the humans. Because if we can take care of the humans, if we can give them what they need to survive, they're going to take care of those animals.
Right.
So it's a huge thing. So humans are first, obviously. with all of us.
Well, I mean, we're the ones that are going to take care of the animals, so that makes all the sense. You know what I'm kind of curious is that because if you go back in time to whenever that was, 2017 or 2010, when you first did that thing, how did it grow to what it is? I'm sure that wasn't part of your vision at the time. What do you think it was? That the more you did it, the more need you saw, or where did it come from?
Well, first of all, up until a few years ago, none of my guys wanted to be on camera. Neither did
Oh,
I.
I don't either.
I mean, we did it for OPSEC. We had to be very careful, just because there were groups that would see us. I mean, look, I don't look Korean, do I?
I think so.
I don't fit in. I don't fit in very well into that.
Yeah.
So they could see us coming, but at the same time, we didn't. We wanted to make sure the guys were safe, their families were safe. We were dealing with a couple of really organized crime, like I said, the Russian mob, the Yakuza, the Japanese. They
I didn't know the Russian mob was involved with the dog markets. I didn't know that.
huge,
Wow,
huge,
that makes sense.
huge, and the Chinese mob as well.
Sure.
Oh yeah. So you've got all these groups. So the first one to come out, with being on camera was me. And I told my guys, you don't have to do it. I'll be the face of the organization.
Actually, that's probably because you're the sexiest guy.
Yeah,
That's probably
right.
what it
Yeah. Yeah. This face made for radio, not for, isn't that, but that was the key thing. And then, a lot of the guys have changed over. A lot of my guys, the veterans who were from Afghanistan, from Iraq, their lives got in the way. They got married, they had kids, and they weren't able to do what we do today. They can't travel like that. They can't do it for free. So, they had real lives that they had to start and go forward with. My current group, we've got guys in there who are very devoted. They don't care if their faces are seen. Never have, never will. We're there to, bring awareness to what our mission is. We're there to show the world who we are and what we're doing. And Canine Global Rescue is not just combat veterans, but also volunteers. And these volunteers give of their time and a lot of them give their own money. And so, we depend on donations like every other organization and grants and things like that. But, grants have dried up over the years. And we're really in a situation where my people will work and continue to work no matter what. And if it means having to spend their own money, they're going to do it. And because they all have the same passion. They all have this passion for saving animals. And it's a fire that doesn't go out easy. Believe me, I'm gonna go to my grave, and I'm still gonna have that passion when they put the dirt on me. That's all there is to it.
Okay, so one thing I want you to define this, and you have in spurts, but you guys use the term mission. Define the mission in between a macro and micro, so people that are listening know what you're real. I know you because you do a lot of things. So let's define the mission.
Well, our mission is animal welfare. That's the top level. Animal welfare, whether it be the population control or disease mitigation or adoptions. Our mission is animal welfare and looking after animals, those without a voice, that can't speak for themselves, that need the human, us, to ensure them. In the movie Dog Warriors, I talk about this. We domesticated animals. We took dogs and domesticated them. It's our responsibility, us, to ensure that we protect them. I don't care what religion you are. In every single religion, even Islam, it talks about taking care of the animals, right? And whether it's Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism, it doesn't matter. There's one component that is the same throughout those, and it is about that we are the overlookers. We are the
Guardian.
the people, the guardian of these animals, and that to me is our mission. And we are the guardians, and we will continue to do that. So, our mission is to give them a better life.
Okay, so you got your mission. So I know you guys do a lot of stuff in war zone, conflict zones, and across the board. Let's talk about the U.S. and let's be more specific. I know you were in Texas, I believe, and that. So kind of give for people again that live here that really want to help in any ways they want to talk about some of the disasters or wherever you've been here in the U.S. so people can understand what you guys have done here too.
So we've worked hurricanes. We've worked Florence, Michael, Harvey, just to name three of them, where we've worked with teams, with Team Rubicon. I don't know if you're familiar who they are,
No.
but there is a veteran-run organization. They go in and they're a humanitarian aid organization doing disaster relief. We go in, and whether it's with the National Guard or local law enforcement, we're the experts on how to get these dogs out of, the cats out of, or cattle. We've done a lot of cattle in hurricanes and floods. We go in and our mission during disaster relief is to, one, of course, humans, if we come across that, but two, is that people tend to leave their animals behind. And so we're the ones who go in and rescue those animals, try to rescue them before anything bad happens to them. People in hurricanes, we've seen them lock their animals in a bathroom, in the bathtub, and hope for the best that they'll be back in 3 days. Right. Well, a week's gone by or 2 weeks gone by, and those animals are still in that room, no water, no food.
Right.
And so we're there, and we're the experts on how to get those animals, how to evacuate those animals.
I want people listening, just because there's a hurricane doesn't mean you can do that. You've got to be trained. So that's a really important thing.
Oh, no. Our guys all have experience in USAR, in training, worked with FEMA. Now we always get volunteers who may not go into the eye of the storm, so to speak, but who are in our, working the back end, like if we set up a temporary shelter at these disasters. And they're
well, you also have leadership to tell them what to do too. I mean, if and I've been in some disasters and conflict zones and all that, but I'm not trained, but it takes training, and it takes people to guide you the right way, where you should be and where you should not be. Correct.
And so when we've worked the fires in LA, we worked the fires in the Marshall fires in Boulder, where I had a team of 30 volunteers. We had horse trailers. We had everything. We were going in and beyond what's called the Black Line. We go in and we're rescuing all the cattle, the animals, the horses, the dogs, the cats, everything that we possibly could. The same thing happened in Altadena in LA.
Right.
We were the only animal rescue group. And they assigned us to Altadena, to Pasadena, to go in and help there. And we worked with the National Guard there. And there were people who were trying to do it on their own. They have no idea what they're doing. I mean, they have great hearts.
Right. Well-wishers.
Well, but stay the hell away from this, because fires are the nastiest thing there is. I've worked hurricanes. I've worked floods. I've worked everything. So, my guys, fires are no joke.
The crazy thing about the LA thing, because, we talked a little bit when we weren't recording about Paws of War. Those guys were down there too, feeding the animals and that.
Yep.
What people don't realize too, when you have a fire, that it's in a forest, it's not only the domestic animals, it's the wild animals too that are affected by that too.
Right. And in Altadena, we rescued coyotes. We actually got the fire department, one of the teams with us. This coyote had fallen down into the foundation that had been burned out, and the coyote was pretty burned, paws, face.
Right.
We actually rescued that coyote and got him out into the wildlife center, and where he recovered, even though he was burned over 50% of his body, and they gave him about a 2% chance of living. He's a coyote.
Yeah.
And
Trickster.
he lived, and then he was released. We had the GPS coordinates for them. He was released back to where we had originally found him.
Oh, that's cool.
We did peacocks, we did turkeys, we did snakes. People had snakes in their home that they had no power, but they left the snake in the aquarium, and we had to go in and rescue boa constrictors and all these other things that were in there. We had a chicken farm that we went in. We did horses. We did deer. There were 2 deer that we had to rescue and move them to a different area, and their hooves were burned as well,
Right.
because of all what they had gone through. I mean, it's a crazy. We were surrounded at night when we were going in. There were coyotes. Coyotes are survivors. The coyotes surrounded us, and it was pretty amazing. It was like they were asking for help. They were not aggressive.
They knew. I really do believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty amazing in California. The same thing in Colorado when we worked the Marshall fires. Nasty. The wind shifted 10 times in an hour. And we found ourselves, and this is no joke, we found ourselves in the middle surrounded by fire. It was all around us. And we had to find our way out.
That's good.
And it was a scary situation. I had a photographer with me who that was his first time he had been in fires, and he kept his cool, but at the same time it was like, what the hell? We're gonna burn.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, vehicles, I mean, homes were just down to the ground, period. And yeah, it was a scary situation. And that's why I tell people, it's great. Go get the training. Go do what you have to do. If you want to give of yourself, then you need to understand what you're getting involved in, whether it's hurricanes, fires, even earthquakes, whatever it is, know what's happening. And when we worked Texas, we were actually working more search and recovery. We were asked not to come in until a week after the flood, because they needed to get out some of the groups that had been in there working a week solid. So we went in and we were working search and rescue and looking for things that for bodies, basically, along the river.
My son was down there. I think I told you, but he was really clearing out brush and stuff for like the local people that had, when it flooded, closed everything up. So he was doing manual labor to help everybody as well there. It really impacted him. It was a good experience for him, but it
was tough. It was very tough down there. I had a personal connection with 2 people who, actually 3. There was a couple and their son who died. Their daughter she was at Mystic and she did not die. And the couple and their son, their house got washed away in the middle of the night.
Horrible. The whole thing just really, really depressing.
And it was their vacation home. They're from California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really, really sad. So what else can we cover? And then I want you to tell everybody how they can help you guys. Obviously, you guys are 100% donation, but what else have we missed that I'm sure there's a gazillion things. Anything that you can think of that we really should get out here today, and then we can point everybody to you and how to find you and all that kind of stuff.
No, I think Mark, I think that we covered most everything. We're very fortunate to have a great following. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. Donations. We're a donation-driven organization. And it takes, people keep saying to us, when are you going back to Ukraine? Well, one, we have to get a vehicle, and that's been the process.
And to remind everybody, that vehicle got blown up.
That vehicle got blown. That is correct. And we've actually been through 3 vehicles. And that one, the last one is done. It's gone. We couldn't scrap it. We couldn't fix it. We couldn't do anything. So it's gone. And so we have been trying to raise the funds. And fortunately, we got a partial grant from an organization, a private foundation out of Aspen, Colorado. But it's only a partial. And in order to get a vehicle that is mobile, that can get us in and out of really bad situations, and because the war has lasted so long, the vehicles in Ukraine, the vehicles in Poland, the vehicles in Germany, there just aren't that many to choose from anymore that are worthy of keeping my team safe.
Right.
So we've got to buy a vehicle that is on the upper scale, unfortunately, price-wise. And it's the way it is. And it's been a problem. But we will go back. And people always say, when are you going back? Well, it takes money to go back.
Right.
And, we've been, in the last year, we were in Korea, Gaza, and Ukraine. It takes money.
Right.
We're not getting air for free. We're not getting hotels or, a lot of times we're staying in a safe house like in Ukraine or whatever. We're not getting our food for free. We're not getting any of that done. So there's a cost to it. And people want us to keep doing it. And, the best way to do it, obviously, is we're grateful to all of our followers who give us on a monthly basis, who have signed up with either PayPal or Giving Fund or whatever, who donate anywhere from $5 to $100 a month. It's amazing that they support us that way. So
you're bringing in medical supplies for the animals too. So you're bringing in veterinarians generally when you go in these things. So they're doing surgery or whatever, doing spay and neuters, and you need all those supplies. And that's donation as well.
Yeah, and whether it's Ukraine or Gaza, we're bringing in a ton of medical supplies, veterinary supplies. Especially right now in Gaza, we have to have rabies vaccinations, which we have to keep them stored at a room temperature. I mean, at a cold temperature. We have the parvos, the distemper. We've got all the medical stuff, the medicines that way. Plus, we've got flea, tick, deworm or heartworm, all that stuff, and all of that comes at a cost.
Sure,
it doesn't just magically appear.
Right.
I've already got 5 of my own bags packed with veterinary medical supplies for this next trip coming up in January. I know that, my guys are getting a lot of veterinary clinics in the United States will donate expired medications.
Sure. Because it's still good, by the way.
It still is good. Well, up until a certain point, but it is still good.
I know, but legally, when there's an expiration on it, but it happens all the time. Having been in the medical field for a long time, you've got a year or two longer than the expiration date. Generally, as long as it was a refrigerated product, it has to remain refrigerated. That's it.
Right, and I mean this. We've got bandages, burn bandages for animals. We've got gauze. We've got everything that splints. We've got everything that has to be taken in to help these animals. And it comes at a price. It comes at a cost. And so, how
does everybody find you?
We've got a presence on Facebook.
Okay.
And Instagram, Canine Global Rescue, and it's K with the number 9 in case anybody thinks that spelling it out is canine. It isn't. Canine Global Rescue, and then our website is canineglobalrescue.org, and they can find us there. They can donate. They can see what we're doing. Facebook and Instagram are most up to date as far as what we do, but our website still shows all the things that we're involved in. We appreciate any support that we possibly can get.
And I would, I've spent a lot of time doing the research, so I would recommend, if you can help do, and the easiest way to find their social media, if you go to the website, you've got links to all the different social media things, so you can click in right from there. And again, it's caninerescue.com or org.
canineglobalrescue.org.
canineglobalrescue.org. That's what we got.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, all donations are tax deductible. 100% tax deductible.
And for you guys that are, avid followers of me, I'm going to try and go on one of these trips someday, and we'll see how that works too. But I would highly recommend you guys going to the site and anything you do to help. So as we're finishing this thing, as I was telling you, John, I always try to get the guests to tell a joke. But for you guys that are already cringing, I guess it's me again, because John's not going to do it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But he doesn't know how bad they really are.
Oh, God.
So I do have a joke for you today. And I always try to get one that's kind of relative to what we're talking about. So here's my joke. Again, you guys that are listening, by the way, first of all, for you guys that are listening, if it's grandparents that are listening, you want your grandkids, nieces, nephews, you guys want to be on the show, please get a hold of me, because I'm telling you, obviously the guests never want to do it. I'm always being forced to do it. I'll put you on. If you email me at mkyle@forrealpodcast.com, we'll do that. But seriously, I gladly put on, I get a hold of everybody. So here's my joke for the day. So, what's a rescue dog's favorite type of teamwork? Any idea?
Oh, boy. No, I don't have any idea.
So, you're going to like this one. Anything that involves a positive impact. I know. Positive impact. At least it has a good meaning, regardless of it.
I should have gone to my grandsons and said, hey, you guys have any animal jokes?
That's a good idea. I need to tell guests sometimes if they want to bring on their grandkids or something, they do it. But, it's funny as you guys are listening, every now and then I'll get somebody on that's got their kids or something on there. But again, first of all, John, thanks so much for being on the show. I love what you guys are doing. I consider you a new friend. You and I have indirectly crossed paths in so many ways. So we got a lot of the same passions, I think.
Well, I appreciate you having us on and giving us a voice, and all those without a voice. Thanks, Mark. I really do appreciate it.
Well, it's really my pleasure, because I get to meet cool people doing cool things. And then for everybody else that's out there listening, as I always say, keep listening, keep following, and doing all those things we need to grow. And please tell other people about it, because when other people listen, they find out about organizations like this, and they can help out as well too. Because, for everybody that's out there listening, pretty much we're all animal lovers. So if we can do that. But most importantly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening. For real.
That concludes this episode of For Real with your host, Mark Kyle. For previous and future episodes of For Real, listen via all major podcast streaming sites.